Hello guys, Brian here. We're gonna do a quick update in the NASCAR world this evening. Of course, the big news of the day, of course, has come. We finally know the replacement of the driver for the 48 car. Also, we are going to recap Talladega, and I'm also going to give you guys a dark horse as to who I believe is going to drive that 88 next season. We'll dive into all that in a second, plus predictions for the ROVAL. So you'll want to stay tuned. We'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. There's a lot on our agenda here today on SCN. Of course, we'll start out with the breaking news. Alex Bowman is officially Jimmy Johnson's replacement. He will drive the number 48 Ally Chevrolet next season. So now the big question is, of course, because Bowman is on a one-year deal, he will be in a contract year, I believe in 2021, when he drives that number 48. But now the big question is, who will drive the 88? And I will give you my honest opinion. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll give you my honest opinion here, in that now I think with Bowman taking over that 48, it creates a much more unclear picture. I think, it would have been easy to plug in Eric Jones into the 48 next year and leave Bowman in the 88. I mean, Larson would have been good, but I guess Ally decided they didn't want to be represented by Kyle Larson. So, I mean, Bowman's probably the safe option. They wanted a veteran. They wanted a driver in the Chevy lineup already. And I guess Bowman's the easy fix. So, I guess congratulations to Bowman. But I guess my big question is now, who will drive the 88? I'm going to be honest, I think it's a tricky call right now, because the two top free agents, or the two of the top three free agents, one of which is still not even cleared to return to NASCAR, they don't necessarily bring sponsorship. I mean, I think Matt DiBenedetto could bring in sponsorship, not much, but I think he could bring more to the table than, say, an Eric Jones or a Kyle Larson. So, but obviously I don't think DiBenedetto is in the running for that ride. We're also going to talk Matty D in a few minutes here. But my honest opinion is I don't like either of those two, Kyle Larson or Eric Jones. I think Kyle Larson could bring the results at the Hendrick stable. But at the same time, Eric Jones could benefit from that change of scenery. Maybe he's like Joey Logano and he just needed out of Joe Gibbs Racing. And then I guess another name that's not being discussed, which I'm actually shocked it's not him being discussed, but it's Justin Allgaier. Now hear me out here. Justin Allgaier brings sponsorship to the table. He was essentially the reserve driver for Hendrick last season, much like Alex Bowman was when Dale Jr. had his concussion and then came back. So, I mean, I'm wondering if maybe Rick Hendrick sat in a boardroom and said, hey, what do you think about going cup racing next year? Now we know Justin Allgaier's thoughts on going cup racing. We all know his thoughts on going cup racing, and he is not wanting to do that. But I think, again, Brandt will support him no matter what. Brandt is a longtime partner of Kyle Larson, or Justin Allgaier's. I think if they sat down in a room and Justin Allgaier wanted to go racing, I think Brandt and Hendrick would be more than happy to plug Justin Allgaier into that 88. Not to mention it brings in a veteran presence. You know, we don't really have that over there now with Chase Elliott there, Alex Bowman, William Byron. I think they would benefit from a veteran who's been, you know, through NASCAR's ranks over the years. So maybe we're ruling out Allgaier a little too quickly. Now, I mean, if Allgaier gets the ride, this puts a lot of pressure now on these guys like Kyle Larson. I think Kyle Larson's got a future regardless of what happens. Okay, he will be in the picture. If not 2021, he will be in 2022. Okay, he will be in the running for a ride somewhere. So he can bounce back. The big concern will be for Erik Jones. Of course, you know, maybe he would benefit at this point from going down to the Xfinity Series again. Maybe. You know, is that a possibility? Seeing that he's already doesn't have a cup ride really lined up. He's still struggling to find one. He doesn't have sponsorship. I could see it happening. Again, I'm not listing the Fords as a top free agent destination because the Fords have two drivers in their development program. Okay, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, they can both move up to Cup, but they both have to go to a Ford ride because I believe both of them are under the Ford driver development program. So, you know, they've already got a place guaranteed in a Ford, and I just don't think any Ford team would be wise to let him walk necessarily, or let either of those two stay in Xfinity and sign another veteran driver. So if Kyle Larson doesn't get this Hendrick ride, I don't think he has a shot next season of racing, unless it's with JTG Doherty, and I don't think JTG Doherty and Kroger would be fond of that signing, but who knows. Yeah, so let me know your pick. I mean, to be honest, my pick is leaning toward Kyle Larson right now in the 88. I think that's been the biggest name, but I would not rule out Justin Allgaier just yet. I mean, we know his thoughts on Cup racing, but again, if Brandt is willing to move to Cup and Allgaier is willing to consider it, it's a possibility. Don't rule it out. That's all I'm going to say on that. And then maybe, who knows, maybe Erik Jones will go to Junior Motorsports next year. Junior Motorsports loves signing guys like Erik Jones who are down on their luck and just trying to remake a name for themselves. So I wouldn't even rule that out at this point. I know Sam Mayer's in the cards for Junior Motorsports, but who knows? Kyle Larson could be in that running. Or, I'm sorry, Erik Jones could be in that running. Keep bringing up Kyle Larson. Anyway, on to the next topic. Let's talk Talladega. I'll be honest, I've had 2 days to reflect on it, and nothing really changed, in my opinion. You know, I wanted to release the video that night. I didn't feel like I was quite there to make that video. It was just so much anger and so much frustration about that race, and I'm still not happy about it. I guess the big thing about Talladega, we know Denny Hamlin won, but I will tell you, I've watched the replays of 2008 rather, where Regan Smith went below the line, and I rewatched this replay so many times on Sunday. And I'm sitting here thinking, honestly, what's the difference? It's, you know, to me, the only difference is one was in turn 4, one was on the tri-oval. But it was the exact same thing. It's just a pattern for me of inconsistent NASCAR calls. I mean, the DiBenedetto pushing William Byron below that double yellow line, you could argue that there's a case there. But to me, I didn't see it. But again, the case is there that happened. So I think that's a call that on the last lap is debatable to make. And, but Denny Hamlin, though, I think if you look back at it, it's very blatant and obvious he had room to come back up the track, and he should have. So, I mean, I think DiBenedetto won that race, and I'm going to join on the guys who are complaining that DiBenedetto should have won that race. It's just, I don't think there's a strong argument that he shouldn't have won it, outside of he got beat to the line. But again, I mean, Hamlin had the opportunity to come back up on track, and he stayed down there just to get, basically cut the course to get the lead and the win. I mean, again, we can go back and look at the replay, but, I mean, again, same thing as Regan Smith. To me, the definition of getting forced below the line would be if Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski were a little closer, bumper to bumper, and Carl Edwards just blatantly shoved him down there. I mean, they didn't touch. Denny Hamlin went down there, and granted, if he had stayed in his line and defended his line, he would have caused a wreck. But it's just debatable there. I think he deliberately went below that line. Again, he could have held his line, but that's my opinion on it. We did have a poll that went up. I put it on SCN's Facebook page and in our Discord. I asked people, did NASCAR make the right call, penalizing Matt DiBenedetto and giving Denny Hamlin the win? We did not get many responses on this, and I'm actually going to close the responses. So I asked that the answers that you could choose from: yes, Denny was forced low, he is the winner. The other option was no, Matt DiBenedetto was the winner. And our third option, both should have been penalized, and Eric Jones should be the winner. I'm actually shocked with the responses. 66% said Eric Jones should be the winner, while 33% said Matt DiBenedetto should have been the winner. I wouldn't have minded if Eric Jones won, but, I mean, yeah, that's all I'm saying is I've always liked Eric Jones, so I wouldn't have minded that win. Anyway, let's move on here. So, I guess the other big thing from the race, should they get rid of the double line rule? I think it comes down, I know a lot of fans are calling for it. Miller has already said he will not get rid of it. My honest opinion here is you can't get rid of it. That's just, I don't know. See, I think if you're going to get rid of it, fine, but there needs to be some limitations on how, there needs to be some limitations. You can't do it on lap 1. I mean, granted, there were so many wrecks in that race with the double yellow line rule, so I don't think it would have made a difference necessarily. But I think if you take it away till the final 2 laps and say it's a free-for-all at that point, I think in that case it'd be okay. Now, if you do it, but here's the thing, if you keep the rule though, I think you gotta be more consistent on the calls. There needs to be more consistency. Because right there, I mean, that decision that they made to not penalize Hamlin, that's for the race win. They did the same thing to Regan Smith. Costed him a win. Granted, he did go below the double yellow line. You could debate he was forced down there, but he stayed down there and advanced his position. Maybe there needs to be a rule about that too. But it's just, it seems to me there's always inconsistency with that rule. So I think just if you keep it, you need to call it more consistently. But if you get rid of it, there needs to be some limitations on that rule. There needs to be a little asterisk next to it of when you can go below that double yellow line, and it's legal to do. So anyway, now on to another part of the race that I think a lot of people were riled up about. And of course, if you watched it on NBC, you notice about 6:05 they cut out and they went to the local news. And then of course nightly news and Sunday Night Football Night in America. And they moved the finish of the race to NBCSN. And I know a lot of fans upset about it because, you know, there are very few races on the NBC package that are on the main network compared to the past. And I did a little research. So I have always said that having races later in the day, especially on Sundays, football will always trump it. Because I always thought football, they paid more money for the football package than they did the NASCAR deal. And I will tell you, some of the research I found was pretty interesting. So NBC TV writes, NBC pays $4.4 billion for their NASCAR package. $4.4 billion. Now, you may be sitting there and saying, well, they've clearly got to be paying way more for the football package. They're only paying $950 million on this current deal for the Sunday Night Football package. And I can guarantee you they'll be paying about that same amount of money to football when that new contract negotiation comes up. Now, let's advance to the ratings. It's not even close. And Sunday Night Football is the most watched primetime show. So, again, here's the thing. On Sundays, especially this time of year, on Sundays, you know, football is all over the television. NBC, I think, owes the local affiliates. Now, a lot of people said that you can get your news off of Facebook, you can get your news off of Twitter, your local news. That's good and all, but some people don't use those still. Some people still want to watch the actual news. And again, if you don't air the news at 6, if they had aired the final 2 overtimes, you wouldn't give those local affiliates a chance to run their local news because nightly news was following that. And you have to give enough time for nightly news. Imagine I think this race ended about 6:30. You're not going to give the local affiliates 3 minutes and then tell them, well, we got to cut to nightly news because we're on a time restraint here. And they're not moving, they will not move the Football Night in America to NBCSN. They get a lot of money in sponsorship. They get too many viewers to move that over. So there really was no choice in this matter. Again, 20.5 million views last season on Sunday Night Football, compared to 2.25 million views averaged on NASCAR and NBC and NBCSN. It's not even close. You have to go with football in that case. So I know a lot of fans are angry about it. But my thought on it is, if you're gonna... I think NASCAR and NBC, yes, there's ratings and running mid-afternoons, but maybe there should be more thought to having the races start at about 12:30, 1 o'clock, so you don't run into this issue anymore. Or, option B, and again, a lot of fans won't like this, maybe run some Saturday afternoons so that way you're not running over football. 'Cause let's face it, they've always lost ratings to football this time of year. I don't exactly know that off the top of my head, but I would say they lose a good deal of their viewership to football And right now, in this time above all, seeing the pandemic and seeing how many sports, I mean, the NBA Finals are going on, football's on, the baseball playoffs are on, which of course they've always contended with the baseball playoffs. But again, maybe NASCAR needs to explore doing midweek races, trying to finish this season in October. Or, again, sorry, you're going to have to move the races up, or you're going to have to risk having them put on NBCSN for the finish. I get they pay more for NASCAR, but it doesn't mean that they make more on NASCAR. They probably make a crap ton on Sunday Night Football. They probably make billions on it, I would say, just on sponsorship and whatnot. And of course, again, your most watched show, you're not going to put your most watched primetime show on another network. You will not do that. You would be a fool to do that. Okay, it'd be like saying, what is it? It'd be like saying, the World Series is coming up on Fox. Or, hey, the NBA Finals has gotten some great ratings. Let's move them to ESPN. Or, hey, Monday Night Football's got incredible ratings. Let's move it to ESPN2 or ESPNU. Or just another channel that they don't have the rights to. Oh, Thursday Night Football's doing well. Let's move it to FS1. Sorry, they're not doing that. Okay, sorry, if you don't like it, just simply preach to NASCAR having to start earlier, or, again, maybe the season needs to finish earlier. Look at how IndyCar has said for years they don't want to overrun with football. Yeah, so, again, if IndyCar doesn't want to overlap with football, what's the problem with NASCAR saying that, hey, we shouldn't be running over with football? Anyway, our final topic of the day is our ROVAL predictions. Anyway, I pulled up the standings. As you know, Kyle Busch is 21 points out. The guys who have to race their way in: Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Clint Bowyer, and Eric Almirola are all the guys on the outside looking in, entering this race. Kevin Harvick is basically going to lock in after the first stage, if not the second stage. So he's pretty much in unless something unforeseen happens between now and Sunday. Okay, Chase Elliott, he's by far the favorite at the ROVAL. He's always been the favorite on the road courses. He's won the last 3. Brad Keselowski's been running well. Truex always runs well on road courses. He should be able to race his way in. Bowman's on the inside. So is Logano. And I'll tell you, looking at Bowman, I'm shocked he's in this. Again, I think everybody thought Kyle Busch would be in instead of Alex Bowman. I mean, my prediction here, thing is, I think Kyle Busch is in 21 points back. He's either going to have to sweep the stages and hope for a good finish, or he's going to have to go out and win the race. That's my opinion. I get it's 21 points. It doesn't seem like a lot, but in hindsight, it really, really is a lot. So, my honest opinion, Kyle Busch is in a must-win. Okay, we know for a fact Austin Dillon's in a similar situation. Kurt Busch is in. Clint Bowyer is on the fence right now. He might have to win. And Eric Almirola absolutely has to win. But I think Clint Bowyer, Eric Almirola, 100% they gotta win to move on. I mean, if anybody can fall out of the top 8, I think it's going to be Alex Bowman in that 88. Logano's been good this year. I could see him continuing that run. Truex, I think at the end of the day it's going to come down to Truex and Chase Elliott for that win. And, even Jimmy Johnson could come in and play spoiler here. He almost won a few years ago. So, I mean, I think at the end of this race, I mean, the other thing, going back to Kyle Busch, let's face it, he's in a rock and a hard place. 21 points back is not good. I don't necessarily think he's got to win, but it would certainly help him. I think, and the other thing is he's never finished in the top 30. Kyle Busch has never finished top 30 at the ROVAL. So he's gonna have to figure something out at the ROVAL, and unfortunately, he doesn't have the Xfinity race to run to get that experience on the ROVAL. He doesn't have the Cup race, or doesn't have Cup practices to really get acclimated like in seasons past. He's got to go in and win, I think, and he's going to have to go in. He's going to have to survive this one because he has not been good at surviving at the ROVAL. But this year he's going to have to figure it out. So, but I just don't think he can do it. That's the thing. I think Bowman, if Bowman stays out of trouble, he can get a good finish out of it. I mean, that's my honest opinion, but I think Bowman's the only guy that Kyle Busch can pick off, because I just think Logano's going to sneak his way in, and he's 22. Bowman is 22 to the good. If Bowman doesn't get stage points, I think Kyle Busch has a real shot at taking out Alex Bowman. But I think Logano's like not the guy that Kyle Busch could take out of the playoffs. So, but I think at the end of the day, those four that are outside, I think they're going to get eliminated. I mean, Boyer might have a good shot. I mean, I think he's won on a road course before. He kind of knows how to run road courses. Almirola's not that good. I think Talladega was his one shot, and he kind of blew it. Or he didn't blow it, he got wrecked. So, correction there. There's a difference. Austin Dillon, again, I think that race at Las Vegas hurt him. If he ran well at Vegas, I think things would have been different for him. And Kyle Busch, again, not finishing inside the top 30 at the ROVAL the last two seasons. I think I just don't foresee a change, but if there is a change, I think it will be Alex Bowman. As far as who wins the race, I think easily you gotta say Chase Elliott, because of just how dominant he's been on these road courses of late. Maybe even Truex. I would even vouch and say Truex has a good shot of winning. So, those are my picks. That's all. Man, we've gone a long time. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like or dislike. Again, give me your thoughts on who will drive the 88 next season. Give me your thoughts on the Matt DiBenedetto situation, too. Obviously, that's still up in the air. He has just told the Wood brothers he needs to know by the end of the month what he's doing. So, again, give me your thoughts on that. Who will it be, DiBenedetto or Cindric? Again, like or dislike. 88-21, who gets those rides? And of course, just give me your thoughts on the ROVAL. And if you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe and click that bell so you guys get notifications of when our videos come out. And we will see you back here hopefully real soon over here on SCN. Until then, goodbye everyone.